The Departure of King Pariksit. Part 3. The Leaving. Before proceeding to the Ganges River, King Pariksit had enthroned his son, Janamejaya. Maharaj Janamejaya became very angry when he received the news of his father's death from the snake bird, Taksaka, and he began a sacrificial performance for the purpose of destroying all the snakes. On a number of occasions, while Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada was in Vrindavan and Mayapur, he spoke to his disciples about snakes. He described, "Sometimes these snakes' mission is to kill a certain person. They will not stop until they succeed. Particularly at the end of the snake's life, sometimes the snake grows wings." A few times in the quiet of the evening in Mayapur, Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada would point out a sound. "Hear that sound? That is the snake bird. It has a special sound." So let us now hear 24 of the 80 verses of Canto 12, Chapter 6, about the departure of King Pariksit. After hearing all that was narrated to him by the self-realized and equipoised Sukadeva, the son of Vyasadeva, Maharaj Pariksit humbly approached his lotus feet. Bowing his head down at the sage's feet, the king, who had lived his entire life under the protection of Lord Vishnu, folded his hands in supplication and spoke as follows: "I have now achieved the purpose of my life because a great and merciful soul like you has shown such kindness to me. You have personally spoken to me this narration of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Hari, who is without beginning or end. I have heard from you this Srimad Bhagavatam, which is the perfect summary of all the Puranas and which perfectly describes the Supreme Lord. My Lord, I now have no fear of Taksaka or any other living being, or even of repeated deaths, because I have absorbed myself in that purely spiritual absolute truth, which you have revealed and which destroys all fear. You have revealed to me that which is most auspicious, the supreme personal feature of the Lord. I am now fixed in knowledge and self-realization, and my ignorance has been eradicated." Thus requested, the saintly son of Srila Vyasadeva gave his permission to King Pariksit. Then, after being worshipped by the king and all the sages present, Sukadeva departed from that place. Maharaj Pariksit then sat down on the bank of the Ganges upon a seat made of daba grass, with the tips of its stalks facing east, and turned himself toward the north. Having attained the perfection of yoga, he experienced full self-realization and was free of material attachment and doubt. The saintly king settled his mind within his spiritual self by pure intelligence and proceeded to meditate upon the supreme absolute truth. His life air ceased to move, and he became as stationary as a tree. The snake bird Taksaka, who had been sent by the angry son of a Brahmin, was going toward the king to kill him when he saw Kashyapa Muni on the path. Taksaka flattered Kashyapa by presenting him with valuable offerings and thereby stopped the sage, who was expert in counteracting poison, from protecting Maharaj Pariksit. Then the snake bird, who could assume any form he wished, disguised himself as a Brahmin, approached the king and bit him. While living beings all over the universe looked on, the body of the great self-realized saint amongst kings was immediately burnt to ashes by the fire of the snake's poison. There arose a terrible cry of lamentation in all directions on the earth and in the heavens, and all the demigods, demons, human beings, and other creatures were astonished. Kettle drums sounded in the regions of the demigods, and the celestial Gandharvas and Apsaras sang. The demigods showered flowers and spoke words of praise. Hearing that his father had been fatally bitten by the snake bird, Maharaj Janamejaya became extremely angry and had Brahmins perform a mighty sacrifice in which he offered all the snakes in the world into the sacrificial fire. When Taksaka saw even the most powerful serpents being burned in the blazing fire of that snake sacrifice, he was overwhelmed with fear and approached Lord Indra for shelter. When King Janamejaya did not see Taksaka entering his sacrificial fire, he said to the Brahmins, "Why is not Taksaka, the lowest of all serpents, burning in this fire?" The Brahmins replied, "O best of kings, the snake Taksaka has not fallen into the fire because he is being protected by Indra, whom he has approached for shelter. Indra is holding him back from the fire." The intelligent King Janamejaya, hearing these words, replied to the priests, "Then, my dear Brahmins, why not make Taksaka fall into the fire along with his protector, Indra?" Hearing this, the priest then chanted this mantra for offering Taksaka together with Indra as an oblation into the sacrificial fire. "O Taksaka, fall immediately into this fire, together with Indra." When Lord Indra, along with his airplane and Taksaka, was suddenly thrown from his position by these insulting words of the Brahmins, he became very disturbed. Brihaspati, the son of Angira Muni, seeing Indra falling from the sky in his aeroplane along with Taksaka, approached King Janamejaya and spoke to him as follows: "O king among men, it is not fitting that this king of snakes meet death at your hands, for he has drunk the nectar of the immortal demigods. Consequently, he is not subject to the ordinary symptoms of old age and death. Therefore, my dear king, please stop this sacrificial performance, which was initiated with the intent of doing harm to others. Many innocent snakes have already been burnt to death." Advised in this manner, Maharaj Janamejaya replied, "So be it." Honouring the words of the great sage, he desisted from performing the snake sacrifice. Sukadeva Goswami said, "I offer my obeisances to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the invincible Lord Sri Krishna. Simply by meditating upon his lotus feet, I have been able to study and appreciate this great literature.